Milsurp Garage Colt Python 357. Legendary. Very intimidating to do a video on this. The greatest revolver ever made. Well, made in 1955. We're going to give it a shot anyway. Made in 1955. On the heels of the Colt Trooper and the Colt 357 Magnum model revolver the very next year in 54. 53 was the Trooper, 54 was the Magnum revolver. 55, they came out with this as a target version. It had a target hammer, target trigger, the smooth, polished action. It was made as the top of the line in that series, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't really made to just dominate the way it did. It was so popular that they did away with the 357 Magnum model revolver and just incorporated that into the Trooper. They just added that caliber to the Trooper model. And this thing went all the way to 1999, where it then just became a custom shop model and was still made until 2005 under special order. You can even tell just by the way it fell out of existence that it didn't really have anything to do with a lack of popularity. It just had to do with the fact that Colt could not produce these anymore for the money. You know, they would have had to have doubled or tripled the price of it, so they had no choice but to just discontinue it. Now, of course, they said, this is typical too, they say it was because of changing market conditions. But basically, I'm telling you, it has to do with just not being able to produce them anymore. By the time the 2000s were rolling around, they would not have been able to, it wasn't cost effective for them anymore. They'd start losing money on them. So they released these in all different types of configurations, barrel lengths, finishes. My head was spinning when I was trying to get all this information together. But what I can import to you today is my joy in shooting this revolver. Believe it or not, is shooting it in 38 caliber. Why 38 caliber, you may ask? Well, the thing about the Python, and it's kind of cool that it just has that one name. All you got to do is say Python, and that's the thing. You know what it's chambered in. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. You know, it has that status. Kind of like if you said Rolls Royce. You know, when you say Rolls Royce, what do you think of? You think of comfort, refinement, quiet, you know. And that's exactly the feel that you get out of the Python. With the 38s, it perfectly complements the trigger feel, even in double action, how smooth it is, how refined it feels. Now, it's nice to have that backup capability that if I ever wanted to throw 357s in there and blast away, that it has that capability. That is cool. But the coolest thing about taking it to the range and shooting it is when it feels refined, smooth. It's highly capable with 38s because it's very low recoil and just has an awesome feel. You don't even need plus Ps. Just nice, relaxing 38 shoot. So let's talk a little bit about the Python's TV and movie career. You have seen this gun. If you grew up in the 70s like me, you've seen this gun everywhere. You've seen it in the hands of Pam Grier, Charles Bronson, Rowdy Piper. It's been all over The Walking Dead. Tom Savini, Starsky and Hutch, both old and new. The Terminator, Scarface, everywhere. But not many people know that its coolest movie role, in my opinion, was in the Dirty Harry series. Now, Dirty Harry, it was a very interesting thing that happened with that movie. It first came out in 1971. And the thing about it is that nobody could predict its popularity. Nobody could predict how popular the Model 29 Smith & Wesson, the 44 caliber revolver that he carried, how popular that would become. They couldn't even keep those things on the shelves back then because of that movie, because of the role it played. And when they were going to make a sequel, they were kind of, they had some problems, actually, to make a sequel out of that movie, if you think about it. Because Dirty Harry, he was not a hero. You couldn't make Dirty Harry a hero. I mean, think about the movie, actually. And this happens a lot with, like, first movies in a series. They always had a certain vibe that then the rest of them forget. You know, like the first Rambo, you know? A lot of people would be really surprised to hear he didn't kill anybody. And look what the Rambo movies turned into. He was like a one-man, army, you know? And like in Rocky, a lot of people would be surprised if you just, if they're not really Rocky fans, let's say, and you just know about Rocky. Hate to use two Sylvester Stallone things, but it is kind of like his writing style. But in Rocky, he loses at the end of Rocky. He doesn't win that fight. If he would have lost any other fight at the end of any other Rocky movie, people would have gone away. Like if Mr. T would have beat him or whatever. I mean, people would have felt gypped, you know? But, like, a lot of first movies are like that. They make a point. They're about something that transcends that hero thing. And they make a statement. But then after that, people are just like, I want to see Dirty Harry. He's like, they want to try to turn him into a hero. But if you remember at the end of Dirty Harry, he, like, tortures some guy. He, like, blows away some guy that's like, you caught me, and he blows the guy away. He basically murders someone and throws his badge in the river. I mean, that's like the end of the movie. How do you come up with like a Dirty Harry 2? You can't make a hero out of somebody like that. So he in it's Magnum Force is the movie, right? The second Dirty Harry movie. And Dirty Harry is the protagonist. The hero of the movie is the Model 29, is the 44 Magnum. That's the hero. So they had to create, every hero in a movie has to have a villain. So what do? They have to have a gun that hit the adversary to the 44 Magnum was what? Every single villain in Dirty Harry 2, which is Magnum Force, every single bad guy carries a Python 357 Magnum. And it's interesting how they picked that gun specifically because, there is that adversarial thing even like in the market, let's say, you know what I mean? That if you're in gun stores looking for a specific type of revolver that's really powerful, you're definitely going to be taking a look at both of those, you know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that every single bad guy has one of those. And in the end, Dirty Harry triumphs over bad cops, you see? It was like a group of rogue cops that he overcomes. Well, anyway, the Python had a great movie role as a villain. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody's interested in the snap caps I used, Here's the coupon code you could use. Here's the website. Here's the coupon code. You get 10% off your entire order. Look at these things. I've beaten the crap out of these things for years, and they're still knocking around. It'd be nice to have snap caps that aren't made out of plastic that actually last and you could play around with for a while. Well, anyway, so Rock Island Auction had some auctions in 2017 and 2018 that were for some really cool collectible pythons. There's one that was even owned by Elvis Presley. Pretty cool stuff. You always see some cool pythons in the Rock Island auctions. Seems to be a very popular gun in those auctions. And in closing, what do I got to say about the Python? It's awesome. Here it is. It resides in my gun safe next to my Model 29. And there might have been adversaries in the movies, but here in the Milsurp Garage, these guns are buddies. And they both do have that same kind of iconic feel. And there's some guns that are just like that. They're just, they're like superheroes. And these two are definitely, they're both heroes in my book. Dirty Harry movies might have wanted to make a villain out of the Python, but to me, they're both heroes. And thanks for tuning in. I think I'm going to take this guy to the range again tonight and go have some fun. And appreciate the subscribers. Glad to get out of the shotguns now for a while. We're moving into some pistols and got some cool stuff coming up on the horizon. So stay tuned. See you all later.